Welcome back to Edgework on the Hammer Betting Network. Daily live NHL show Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time on the Edgework YouTube channel, as well as on the Edgework Twitter account at Edgework Show. You can find all the picks that are made on this show Monday through Friday on the BetStamp account. You go to the betstamp.app, click on Find Betters, and you can find us there as Edgework. But guys, one day until Christmas holidays kind of really kick off. We got a full slate of NHL games, so we'll spend the entire show today just breaking all of those down. But before we do, I mean, Snowmageddon already took its first.
Does that look like melanoma to you? It could be melanoma. I gotta get that checked out.
And yeah, you're just you got full energy today.
I'm just faking it right now. I'm actually really burnt out. Been sick for like the better part of a week, and I don't know. I got a 7-year-old, so the holidays are busy trying to get everything ready for Christmas and whatnot. Gotcha. But yeah, looking forward to a few days off here for sure.
Did he get any cool gifts this year? Like what's on the Christmas list? Is he watching this show? Is he gonna know?
Oh no, he's not gonna know. You got the usual stuff from Santa, the Nerf guns and stuff like that. But I picked him up a pretty sweet gaming laptop, and I'm gonna set him up so he can stop bothering me down here.
Nice.
Have you fully bought into like the mini sticks and stuff yet? Have you got that set up?
No, we play mini sticks a bit. I was actually going to get him a net set, but I kind of forgot about it. But we can still use our makeshift nets for now.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's get into the games.
My knees can't take it anymore, though, man. Like knee hockey, holy shit! I could barely stand up after playing one round of knee hockey. So it's definitely a lot tougher than it was when I was a kid.
You need like the mini stick goalie pads. Just strap
I need knee. If I had knee pads, he'd never score at me. So.
All right, let's get into the games today. So we'll start off with Boston, New Jersey here. Boston currently on a 3-game win streak. They have just been absolutely dominant since the very first game of the season. 26-4-2 on the year. A plus 55 goal differential into December is absolutely insane. Like you look at some of the other teams in the league, plus 29, plus 26, plus 24. Those are the next closest numbers of any goal differentials. Like this Boston team just continues to roll along and be insanely dominant. Now they did play last night against Winnipeg, so they're on a back-to-back here. But New Jersey's coming into this one. They've snapped a 6-game losing streak with a recent win over the Panthers. I don't know how much that really says, but the Panthers haven't been great, so it's not like it was the biggest testament to who New Jersey is, but New Jersey's 3-5-2 in their last 10. They've been kind of free-falling a little bit after that massive losing streak from where they were at the beginning of the season. Indy, is there anything in this game that you'd be looking for?
Yeah, I'm on the Bruins at minus 115 or better. I think they should be priced around minus 125. You mentioned that they are on the second half of a back-to-back, but I see the line has gone up a bit. I laid around minus 113. It moved to minus, I think, 111, and I was curious if it was going to go even lower than that, but no, it looks like it's...
Don Schultz in the chat says Blackwood confirmed for New Jersey there.
Yeah, that helps. So that was one of that's not the reason that I bet on the Bruins, but definitely one of the reasons I was attracted to this bet a little bit more because of the potential for a Blackwood start. And besides, Vanacek hasn't really been, a world beater by any means. He's been decent, but he's not an above average goaltender right now. If anything, he's been below average recently. But yeah, New Jersey has really dropped off, and I mentioned on Twitter the other day that there's not a whole lot separating the Devils and the teams that are chasing them. Obviously, the win over the Panthers helped them kind of stay where they're at a little bit, but they've got a tough schedule coming up. After I think 11 of their next 16 games or 10 of their next 16 games are against some pretty good teams. They got the Bruins twice, the Hurricanes twice, the Penguins twice. And some other good teams as well. They could find themselves like barely hanging on or fighting for a playoff spot come the end of January because they've been playing pretty average over the last month or so. I mean, they're still a good hockey team. I think a lot of the market's rating on them though is based on what they did in October and the early parts of November. But since the latter part of November, November 20th or so, they're a pretty average team, and they've only scored about 50% of the goals. The Bruins are still chugging along, scoring 60% of the goals. Obviously, they've been mostly dominant on home ice, and they're on the road today, but they've still won more than 66% of the games on the road. I think Boston should be priced at around -130 now that Blackwood is confirmed. Ullmark has had 4 days off. He's been virtually unstoppable this year. I like Boston here at even at -120. I think they're worth taking a look here because I think there's some value up to that price.
All right. Well, we can lock that in. Sorry, Alex. We can lock that in on the BetStamp account as well. And if you want to track all of these in real time, again, go over to the BetStamp app and you can find us as Edgework there. Sorry, Alex. Go ahead.
No, good. Yeah, no, we're all in unison. I like Boston here too. I grabbed -$1.11 about nice. 45 minutes ago, and now that's moved up a bit, and it makes total sense. I mean, Boston, they've been playing well all year long. I laugh every time I see their point totals because I have a Boston under ticket thinking they were going to be a crappy team this year. So it's just comical. I wish I had the actual paper ticket. It's just comical.
I've got them at 11-1 to win the Atlantic Division.
There you go. So you were on the right track. I was in the complete opposite of it. But with that being said, Jersey fans, they need to relax. As good as this team played, like you said, in October, November, winning 13 in a row, 18 of 20, and now they're going on a losing skid. We're just seeing natural regression. It doesn't mean that this team's horrible. They don't have to start chanting "Fire Lindy" again, which apparently they were doing a couple of games ago. You have to understand, and this is an old adage that I remember hearing people in baseball say, but an 82-game season, you're going to win 20, you're going to lose 20. It's what you do with the other 42 games that matter. And so that's the thing now with the Devils. This stretch that they have against these tough teams, and a lot of them being on the road, this is what's going to prove their worth and see if they're really a contender in the Eastern Conference. I think they play a tight game here tonight, but I think Boston's just the better squad overall, and I got them at a good price.
And I think it's interesting, before we move on here, I think it's interesting just to kind of how bettors had to really quickly adjust to the way the Devils were playing early in the season. And the Devils went from being a non-playoff team based on their regular season points total and their playoff odds preseason to being one of the best teams in the NHL really quickly, like within the span of 2 to 3 weeks. And now I wonder, on the flip side of that, should people be adjusting a lot based on their recent play? And that's something I think a lot of people have to consider. You've got to wonder how much, if you're weighting the early season success too much now that they have been pretty average over the last 15 games or so. So it's going to be interesting to see where the Devils go in January.
All right, so we locked that one in, the Bruins money line. If you can shop around, you can find it around like -114 is best price right now for some of the books in Canada, but you can mostly find it about -115 through to.
I'm on a heater. I've won 2 bets in a row, so
wow.
You probably want to get in on this one.
That is called a winning streak.
Yeah, but we just do this for fun, though. This is just for fun, right? All right, moving on to the next game here. Winnipeg, Washington. Washington is 8-2 in their last 10. This team has been starting to heat up. I was reading yesterday, there was rumors that Backstrom potentially could be coming back sooner than expected. This Washington team was looking like they might have been out of it so far, like kind of at the beginning of this season, like this might not be their year. Just focus on Ovi getting as many goals as he possibly could, but they're holding on to the last wild card spot right now in the East. They're only 3 points back of the Rangers. They're on a 3-game win streak, and as I mentioned, 8-2 in their last 10. This Washington team is really heating up, going up against a Winnipeg team here who's 6-4 in their last 10. They are coming off a back-to-back against Boston. Is that back-to-back going to kind of hinder them at all, Andy? And then the other part of it being, like, is Washington a team that's we actually have to watch out for here?
Yeah, so a couple of things about the schedule spot for the Jets. Winnipeg, not only is it a back-to-back, it's their sixth game in 9 days. They've been on a pretty tough stretch here. And David Riddick has started prior to last night, he started the 2 games prior to that. So I think there's like a small chance that they might go back to Hellebuck today, considering that they do have 3 days off after this. I don't think it's totally out of the question. And I think that's something to look out for. I think it'd be dangerous to just assume that Riddick is going to start today's game. So that's something that I'm looking at. But as far as the Capitals go, yeah, this team is the real deal. Over the last month, they're the best team in all situations in expected goals, around 60%. They've scored 61% of the goals. They're outscoring teams 3.5 to 2.2 on a per 60-minute basis. Yeah, like they're rocking it right now, and it pisses me off to no end because I was so high on the Capitals prior to the season. I bet them to win the Metropolitan Division. I bet them to make the playoffs, which I still think they will do. But winning the Metro is going to be tough, considering the slow start. But probably they got Darcy Kemper back yesterday. Charlie Lindgren's going to play today. He's emerged as a decent backup. I think there's probably a small chance that Wilson could suit up today because it sounds like he's closer than Backstrom, and that's been the kind of the narrative all along that Wilson will return before Backstrom does. But I think both players are a lot closer, or Backstrom's a lot closer than anybody thought he was going to be at this time of the year. So in the new year, I think we'll see both Wilson and Backstrom back for sure. And once this team gets going and gets healthy, I think that they'll be arguably the best team in the Metropolitan Division. But the Penguins might have something to say about that. But I think the Caps are a really good defensive team. I think that's one of the reasons they've had a lot of success lately is their team defense, because they do have injuries that they've been dealing with. But this is a tough game to handicap because of all these moving parts like Wilson, Backstrom, and the Winnipeg's goaltending situation.
Yeah, Andy, you make a great point there too, mentioning about how we could possibly see Hellebuck again, and that's something to keep an eye on with a lot of these teams because of the break coming up. This is the one time where if you see a back-to-back spot, you cannot assume that they're just going to run to the backup goaltender. They might give their starter, especially if he played well or if there's a big drop-off, which in Winnipeg's case it is. Although Riddick has been fairly well the last couple of starts, kind of screwed me over in a couple of his last starts. There's definitely a chance that we could see Hellebuck again, and it's something to look out for. You definitely want to wait for goalie confirmations on a slate like this.
For sure, yeah. And Washington, I think they are a team that's been undervalued. I bet on them to beat the Senators last night. They dominated that game. It should not have gone to overtime. But I think this is a pretty tough spot here with them sitting at around minus 165, minus 170 at a lot of spots here. So even if you do get, the news that Riddick is going to start, it's kind of already priced in.
Fair enough. So just keep an eye on that one for goalie news. And Sphinx Angles here saying Caps are going to go on a run, and then Andy. There's just unnecessary praise here, really, saying Andy nailed it. Caps way better on D than people give them.
Thanks, Sphinx.
Don't need to tell Andy that. Come on.
Now, only if they could just go on a run to win the Metropolitan Division, I would be really happy. That'd be cool.
Actually, I'll ask you guys this before we move on. How much do you guys think that it plays a factor into an award like Jack Adams, how outspoken the players are on a team about how much they like the coach? Like Rick Bowness comes in there, and I feel like some of it is just like a little bit of a slight towards Paul Maurice for him leaving. A lot of it is mostly being Mark Scheifele speaking out about how much he loves Rick Bowness, but like this team is doing way better than kind of even expectations were at the beginning of the season, just in general. And they've obviously improved significantly from last year. A lot of that has to do with the fact that Connor Hellebuck's kind of turned things around, but Rick Bowness comes in and all of a sudden he's getting all the love, and a lot of it is public from the players on the team. How much of the actual players themselves does it factor in there?
Do you want to take this, Alex? Sorry, I didn't mean to jump in, but
No, you go ahead.
I think, like most awards, they're narrative driven. I mean, obviously there is some statistical and, backing to like a player or a coach is not going to win an award unless they had a good season in those areas as well. But
Yeah.
I think with somebody like Bonus, it's going to go a long way. Just the fact that he already has such good relationships with not only everybody around the league, like everybody likes Rick Bonus. He's been around the league for 20 plus years or more, or 30 years, right? As a coach and an assistant coach. I know, like when I worked at Sportsnet last year, I talked to not only Kevin Bieksa, who was a former player of Bonuses, but Elliot Friedman and Jeff Merrick, and those guys talk to him all the time. Like they're friendly with him, and I think that goes a long way, right? Like I think like they're like you're gonna root for him naturally. So people that like Friedman, and I'm not saying that he's biased in any way, but it's gonna make it a lot easier for a guy to give a guy your vote when he's your friend, you like him, and he's been one of the best coaching stories this season. So I think Bonus is definitely like kind of the front runner right now, considering that the Jets were a fringe playoff team heading into the season. But as I wrote about in the NHL preseason preview, they've made the playoffs. Last year was the first year that they didn't make the playoffs since Connor Hellebuck's sophomore season. So it's not really a surprise that they're back in it, but it is a bit of a surprise that they've gone on the run that they have.
Yeah, and to just kind of further extend what Andy is saying, basically, when you look at what kind of took place at the beginning of the year, it seemed like it was going to be this massive shakeup, almost in the vein of a rebuild, not necessarily as far as a roster dismantling, but bringing in Bonus, stripping Wheeler of the captain's C, it just seemed like they might have been off kilter, and the fact that they've kind of kept the course and are at the top of near the top of the Central right now, heading into the Christmas break, that says a lot. I think Bonus definitely.
Yeah, and if you could bet them to beat the Blackhawks, that's a great bet anytime. But no, the Jets though, like I mean, you look. I think going into the season, they had sort of like a 2-year plan. They signed Bonus for 2 years. Shifley, Dubois, Wheeler, all these guys have 2 years left on their deals. So I think they're really trying to see what they have here in the core group, and they brought in a guy like Bonus who is kind of a known motivator. I don't think he's necessarily like the most tactical coach out there, or like the best X's and O's coach, that's for sure. And he definitely drives people crazy with his player usage sometimes, like burying guys on the bottom lines and stuff like that. But he's well liked around the league, and that's going to go a long way. And if the Jets continue to win, and if they win the Central Division, then I think he's almost a lock, to be one of the top candidates for that award.
And Andy, if you're looking to re-up on your Capitals future here, Jordan Mosel's saying 50-1 to win Metro right now. So there you go.
I think I got to put like a nickel on them at like plus, I don't know, I think maybe like 750 or 8-1 or something like that. I haven't updated my like simulation recently. I'm gonna hopefully do that over the holidays here, but I'm not sure about 50-1. I would imagine it's probably plus EV, but hard to say. I'd be guessing.
All right, moving on to another game here. Philly, Carolina. The Flyers coming on a back-to-back here. They just played the Leafs yesterday. They did play an afternoon game yesterday, so it's not as bad, but nonetheless, a back-to-back. They lose to the Leafs yesterday 4-3, even with a little bit of an inspired comeback late in the game to make a push of it. They're sixth last in the NHL, minus 28 goal differential. Like, this Flyers team has not been good. I talked about yesterday on the show how it's been kind of funny to watch the narrative in the media, because the owner doesn't want to tank. The GM doesn't know whether he is or isn't tanking, and the coach openly thinks that he is tanking. So it's just a gong show from top to bottom there as well. They're going up against a Carolina team here who is just absolutely rolling along. Like, this team is first in the Metro, 9-1 in their last 10. But like, they've just been heating up. They're getting incredible goaltending out of Kochetkov. We've talked about it on this show before, about the fact that like these guys are rolling with 3 goalies right now. Part of it is because Kochetkov is so good. Like, you're not going to just send him away. And then they also have injury issues with the other guys. But like, this game right now, Alex, price at like minus 320 for Carolina, plus 300 for Philadelphia. It's another huge difference between the odds here in this game. Is this priced about where you think it should be?
Yes, but I would really beware of looking at any kind of huge favorites, especially on this kind of a spot here heading into a break like this. We've seen this time and time again in previous Thanksgivings, previous Christmases, where some big dogs cash or keep a game close. And the thing that stuck out with me here was the draw, looking at it as high as plus 430. I already cashed the plus 400 draw with Avalanche and Canadians the other day. This seems to be kind of that same spot. We know Carolina is a way better team right now, but maybe they're off a little bit, kind of looking ahead to the days off. And Philly comes in, plays tight, which they have been playing some close games of late. Just taking a look at this, last 3 games: 4-3 loss against Toronto, 5-3 win against Columbus. That 6-3 win against Philly, that's a bit misleading. There were 2 empty net goals late in that contest, and 2 of the last 3 meetings between these 2 teams have gone into OT. Carolina just got off of a 4-3 OT win in a big division game against Pittsburgh. I could definitely see this one being a close one. I would take a shot here with the draw. Anywhere seeing plus 430 at Caesars and as high as plus 453 at Pinnacle.
So I'm not updated on the starting goaltenders for any games right now. I don't know what news has come out in the last little while. But back to what Zach said, like if the Flyers or if John Tortorella believes that the Flyers are tanking, does he sit Carter Hart today and start Samuel Ersson out of the AHL, who they called up recently? He would make his NHL debut today if that's the case. Don't know a whole lot about this goaltender, but definitely something to watch there. I think the game line is mostly right here. I do agree with what Alex said, though. You never know what a team's mindset is heading into these types of games, and the fact that Carolina is coming off a big win over the Penguins, and they've been on a bit of a roll. Maybe they take their foot off the gas, but the Flyers over the last month, they rank as one of the worst teams in the league, bottom 10 teams in the league as far as allowing shot attempts. And Martin Necas of the Hurricanes is a player that generates a ton of shots, ton of scoring chances, really leading the way for this team in a lot of ways. And we don't know if Sebastian Aho is going to be in the lineup for this game. He wasn't ready to return yesterday. So I tend to lean towards no, like maybe he won't be in the lineup today. And I think regardless, Necas is a guy that is going to generate shots, and he has generated at least 4 shots in almost 50% of his games this season. And you can bet over 3.5 shots on goal at plus 140, I think is the best price available, and it's available at several sports books. So I think that's worth taking a look in this game for sure.
Yeah, that plus 140 is the most widely available number. But again, if you line shop, there's a plus 141 hanging around out there.
Get that 1 cent.
Yeah.
Every cent counts, guys. It is the 6th game in 9 nights for the Hurricanes as well, too. So something to take into account.
All right. Are there any other best bets in any of those games that we've covered already, or I think we're good to move on? All right. Florida, New York, with the Islanders here. The Islanders have kind of dropped back. There was a period of time there where they were doing pretty well, kind of hanging on, but a lot of that had to do with the fact that they were getting some incredible goaltending, and at some point, if you're just not able to produce offense as much, it's going to catch up to you, and it's kind of what's going on here now. This Islanders team is 2 points out of a wild card spot on a 2-game losing streak, but in this matchup here tonight against the Florida Panthers, this Florida team is not being great either. They're 6 points out of a wild card spot. They're 12th in the East, tied with Buffalo with points, 4-6 in their last 10. It's kind of a panic situation there in Florida, trying to figure out what the hell is going on when you're paying your goaltender $10.5 million. You made this huge trade for what you deem to be your superstar player, and Matthew Tkachuk handed him a huge contract. Things just haven't gone the way they had hoped in Florida there, and then with prospects and stuff and picks being traded away, it's a little bit of a gloomy situation in Florida. And what do you make of this Florida team so far this season? Is there any way that they can turn this around at all, or is it a lost season?
No, it's definitely not a lost season. I mean, they're a super they're still capable of being a very dangerous team, and they still have a very potent offense. Not as potent as last year, that's for sure. But like obviously the goaltending and defense is an issue, and the team is just super mediocre right now. Over the last month, they've scored less than 50% of the goals. Their expected goals for percentage in all situations is roughly around 50%, as is their shot attempt percentage, their unblocked shot attempt percentage. Yeah, it's just they're just not they're not playing well right now, and it doesn't help that Sasha Barkov is going to be out for this game. And yeah, the team has kind of had a revolving door with some players cycling in and out of the lineup with injuries and illness, but they've really dropped off. Like this was an elite dominant team last season. They ran teams over, and it really didn't stop for the entire 82 game season last year. And here we've got a 15 game stretch where they're just really just kind of treading water and not outplaying teams on a regular basis. So I think you look at this game, and Florida, they should win. But the Islanders are a top 10 team on defense, at least in goals against. And obviously a big part of that is Ilya Sorokin, who played yesterday. But Simeon Varlamov's been pretty good too. And he's a better goaltender than Sergei Bobrovsky is right now. And I think I'm not sure where this line is gone. I should be just looking at the stream because you probably pulled up the bet stamp profile, didn't you? Yeah. Okay. So at plus 121 at Pinnacle, I'd start to look at the Islanders. It's not quite enough for me to justify a bet on them, but if it gets it up any higher than that, I think I would fire. I think the Panthers should be priced around minus 115.
Yeah, this is the thing about the Florida Panthers is, you said looking back how they've struggled so far, and now looking ahead, would be the first of 11 road games in the next 16. I think this is the last call. I'm looking right now at plus 110 for no on Florida to miss on the playoffs. I think that might be the bet to take right now if you think Florida's going to struggle, which I do. I think they're going to continue their struggles moving forward, and I think this will be kind of the stretch that maybe puts them on the outside looking inward. I don't know about this particular game because the Islanders have been a team that I've just really struggled to get a feel with for this year. But Florida has just been really bad, and I don't know if they're going to be able to turn things around enough, especially having that many road games moving forward. So, like I said, this game's a bit tricky, but if you believe that they're going to continue to struggle out of this break and into the new year, now's the time to grab that plus 110 on Florida to miss the playoffs.
Yeah, and Badman said, if there is a God, we won't see the Islanders in the playoffs. I would take the Islanders. I think I would take the Islanders over the Devils, even though I bet both teams to miss the playoffs. I just the Devils pissed me off so much by going on that run that I did not capitalize on whatsoever earlier in the season, and actually probably lost a lot of money on if I went back and looked at things. So I'd like to see that. I've got nothing against the Devils. I think they're a fun team, and nothing against the organization, but just out of spite, I'd like to see them totally fall apart and miss the playoffs.
All right. Is there any best bets in the Montreal Dallas game here? Is there anything that you guys are looking at between those two teams?
My best bet is that game will suck.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. We can skip that one, move on. And another game here is kind of a little bit interesting to me just based on how the one team has been performing of late, even despite some of the injuries. Colorado, Nashville. Colorado's first in a wild card spot right now, tied with Edmonton for points, but they're 5-4-1 in their last 10. They're on a 3-game win streak, and they're missing McKinnon. They're missing some of their bigger guys in the lineup, and yet they're kind of rolling along here a little bit. Like they're looking a little bit more like Colorado that I was expecting. And then once you add some of those guys back in, you can only imagine that they're going to continue to go up from there, going up against a Nashville team that I feel like they are not where they thought they would be. I don't necessarily know that many other people had them significantly higher. They're 6 points out of a playoff spot right now, and on the season, a minus 15 goal differential. Is there anything else between Colorado and Nashville in this game here tonight that you're looking at?
Nothing I'm betting personally. If I had to take something, it would be with Colorado. Looking at Nashville, I watched that full Nashville game against Chicago the other night. They won 4-2, but it was a bit sloppy. They were just kind of making some mistakes in their own end. Of course, the Hawks, as bad as they are, it didn't matter. It didn't affect them too much. Those are mistakes you can't afford to make against a team like Colorado. Even with all the injuries that they've had, this is still a deep and talented bunch, and they've been clawing together some wins. We've seen back-to-back wins out of regulation. They had the 1-0 shutout win against the Islanders, 2-1 win against Montreal, that went in overtime. So maybe look for a close battle, but I won't be betting anything this one.
One thing, I don't really have a feel for this game, but one interesting stat that I've kind of something that popped out to me on Twitter the other day that I was kind of flying under the radar is just how good Roman Josi and Ryan McDonough have been. They've played 141 minutes at 5-on-5, and they've outscored the opposition 8-0. So they have not allowed a goal yet this season at 5-on-5 when on the ice together. That's pretty incredible.
That is.
Yeah, that is pretty insane. All right, and another game. I'm imagining we're good to skip over this one. Columbus, Chicago. Anything fascinating in this game?
Alex could probably spend the whole show talking about this game.
This I actually did bet the Hawks this morning at -105. It's only the second time. It's only second time this year I bet them, and they have historically played well against Columbus. I mean, these are two terrible teams. Will this game be fun to watch? Probably not. But I think the Hawks, like I said, you don't want to go into a break on a super long losing streak, and one of these teams, somebody's got to get the win here. I think the Hawks put together enough of an effort at home to take care of the business. I laid $1.05 with it. I wouldn't lay anything more than that. So it's going to be a boring game, but I think the Hawks find a way to win it.
So you know what? Jordan says Hawks, Blue Jackets, barn burner, let's go. I want to clarify, like, what is a barn burner? Like, I think I know what a barn burner is. So is a barn burner just like, but I think we need to like officially like set a definition here. Is a barn burner a high scoring game or is it a blowout? I think it's just a high scoring game that's back and forth. That's a barn burner.
That's what
right?
I thought. Yeah, that's what I always thought.
Okay, yeah. I think there's some like, mixed opinions out there on what a barn burner is, and I think that's weird because I have always thought that it was just a high scoring game, back and forth. That burns the barn down.
Someone might watch this game and feel like they want to burn a barn after it's over. Yeah. That's me the different definition there.
yeah. Barn burner to me has always been high scoring, going back and forth. Yeah, and he's saying very exciting / intense. So
very exciting, intense. My sex life is a barn burner.
Between these two teams, you could end up with a situation where maybe it's some sloppy hockey and it's going back and forth real quick.
Bad man. I don't know what that means, but I'll take the compliment.
Andy looks like a barn burner. All right, Andy, what are you making about this battle out west here? Vancouver, Edmonton. Vancouver is just a disaster between on-ice situations, off-ice situations.
I've burned some stuff in some barns before. I don't know if that counts, but I burned something in my garage right after this show, that's for sure. Right. But this game, I mean, you look at the dichotomy between these two teams or whatever. You got the best power play in the NHL, easily the Edmonton Oilers. It's really the only reason that this team is in a playoff spot right now because they're not a very good 5-on-5 team. I mean, Christ, McDavid's, I don't know what the updated numbers are, but heading into the last game, I guess heading into their win over the Stars, the Oilers had been outscored 26-25 when McDavid was on the ice this season at 5-on-5, which I think is pretty telling about where this team is at. They're just not a deep hockey team, and even McDavid is having a hard time kind of dragging them to victories. But they should win today. I mean, Colin Delia should, and I know Alex probably knows more about Colin Delia than I do because he spent some time in Chicago there. But they could go back to Spencer Martin, I guess. But I'm expecting Delia to start, and I like one player prop in this game, and it's Ryan Nugent-Hopkins to score a power play point. I think you could look at him to score a goal as well. I'm not sure actually, can you take a look at what the best price available is on anytime goal scorer? I looked quickly and saw plus 165.
There's plus
Oh,
190, plus
plus 190.
180s.
Yeah, plus 190. I think is worth a look. I mean, he's on the power play with McDavid. He's got 8 goals in his last 11 games, dating back to November 30th. Everything's going right for RNH right now, and he plays important minutes. He plays with good players, and he's going to have a chance to not only score a goal but score a power play point as well. So I think you could lock both of those bets in. Anytime goal scorer plus 190 and to score a power play point at minus 120, I guess is widely available. So yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
we will
I would
lock those
look.
in.
I would look all Edmonton player props if it is Delia in net. Colin Delia is not that good.
No. And Spencer Martin isn't either, right? So the Canucks have the worst penalty kill in the NHL, and they're tired. It's not a good spot for them. So obviously, you got to worry about if you're betting on a side here. You've got to worry about Jack Campbell starting. I don't know if he's going to start or not, but Skinner's been starting a lot of games lately, and this is an easy, should be an easy win, but we'll see.
All right, 2 more games here on the schedule for tonight, as there were 2 games that were postponed. Let's look at Arizona, LA. Alex, is there anything in this game for you? Is this a barn burner?
This could actually be a barn burner. I mean, the California teams don't like each other, and usually they're pretty high scoring affairs. I'd probably look at the over if anything.
All right, fair enough. Andy, anything in this game for you?
No, I don't have anything here. I kind of glossed over this game, to be honest. I was a bit rushed this morning, and I didn't look too much at this game. I think I don't even remember what price my model spit out for this one.
There's some matchups here where you just see like an over 6 at $1.20, and you could just see they might roll the puck out, and it might be 9 or 10 goals pretty much.
Yeah.
So that's the thing about this pre-break slate. Whenever you have these big games, we tend to see a lot of them go. And even though we've been seeing unders being the trend the last 2.5 weeks,
Arizona didn't play last night, did they? No, they played in Vegas 2 days ago, right?
Yeah, 2 days ago. Yeah, so they had a little bit.
So man, speaking of if we're gonna talk about something about this game though, it's Karel Vizmelka. He's been unreal this season. I mean, last season he showed glimpses of it where like once every 10 games or 8 games he would just play out of his mind. It was usually against the Maple Leafs or somebody like that, but he would have this incredible performance, and it's like, man, maybe there's something here with this guy. But this season he's been incredible. He's been one of the best goaltenders in hockey this season.
Is there would a guy like that ever be able to win any type of Vezina at all?
No,
or is
no,
it just
not. I mean,
because the team's so bad.
You'd have to break. I think even to win the Vezina as a non-playoff goaltender, you would have to set records that would never be broken.
Yeah.
I think not making the playoffs kind of disqualifies you from winning best goaltender of the year, because wins are still counted as a goaltending stat, right? And I think people still look at that as a sign of success.
Fair enough. All right, there's 2 more games here. So St. Louis, Vegas. Anything in this one from Alex or Andy?
Well, I think it's tough because the last update on Jack Eichel was just that he wasn't going to play the last game. He didn't skate. He didn't go to the optional skate yesterday, so I guess that means there's better chance that he doesn't play again today. We probably don't see him till after the holidays. But then there's Jordan Kyrou on the St. Louis side. I don't know what the latest is on him, but he's their top scorer, and he's out. I think if everything went Vegas's way with Eichel coming back and Kyrou being out, I think that Vegas should be priced, higher than they are now, higher than minus 160. But if Kyrou is in and Eichel is out, then I think the line is actually closer to, or the fair line should be closer to where the Blues are at around plus 145.
All right.
St. Louis is just so streaky, man. They lose 8 in a row, they win 7 of 8. They lose 8 in a row, they win 7 of 8. It's just that's the kind of season they're having right now, and I still think there's like there's parts of a good hockey team in here, but they haven't played well this season.
All right, and then final game of the night, Calgary, Anaheim. Calgary rolling into Anaheim in this one. This Calgary team still sitting outside of a playoff spot currently in the West. Anaheim started to get some wins recently, grabbed a couple after their after their blowout against the Leafs, but thankfully for them, they started grabbing a few in regulation there. So let's start to turn some things around, at least in terms of not having the most depressing season of all time. But you're looking at this one, Calgary right now, minus 213, Anaheim plus 193. Best price available for Calgary, minus 213. Probably most widely available is 217s around there, 215s. There's some of those hanging around. Is there any way you'd play on a game like this from going into holidays here with Calgary in Anaheim?
Yeah, I just went with the first period over. I've been riding that with Calgary. They're 9-2 in their last 11. Anaheim 6-4 in their last 10. These are two of the three best teams as far as first period over is concerned. Vancouver's at the top, but Anaheim and Calgary are right behind it. So I think this would be high scoring affair early and probably often. So I'd probably look at the full game over as well.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the side goes, like I just at this point, I mean, just like kind of taking everything else out of it, just going on gut feel. I really don't know how you can lay these types of prices on the Flames, given how the season has gone, how they're playing, their lack of offense, their goaltending issues. They're just a really shaky team right now, and a team that I'm very wary about betting on as a big favorite. I'd rather just kind of arbitrarily, I'd rather sit back and pick my spots with this team, wait for a chance whether on the road, maybe a short underdog or a short favorite, and or at home as a short favorite or on the road as an underdog, and look for those and bet those spots accordingly, because I think just assuming Calgary's a good team, they're going to beat Anaheim, et cetera, is it hasn't worked out too well using that logic this year with the Flames.
All right, I think that is it for all the games today, all the best bets on this show. So thank you to everyone who tuned in here. You can find us on YouTube at Edgework. You can find all the picks that are made on this show on the BetStamp app as Edgework in the Find Better section. You can find Alex on Twitter at AXSmithSports, and you can find all of his content on the Ice Guys, and you can find Andy on Twitter at Digital Gambler, and you can find his daily NHL hockey picks on VSiN with the VSiN Pro subscription. So make sure to check those out.
Hey Zach, did you break up with your girlfriend yet? You said you were going to break her up with her so that you didn't have to buy her a Christmas present.
No, I got her a Pro subscription to.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's gonna get you laid.
Yeah. Yeah, so I figure that's a good gift.
I'm mad at him. I got a nephew. He's in grade 12 right now. He just got a girlfriend. I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, wait, February 15th. That's when you start looking for girlfriends in high school. Like, the holidays are just for sad, lonely chicks, right? And then that's your game plan. And then after February 15th, that's when you start looking for that regular piece, right? But
yeah.
Before that, it's you're just wasting money, man. High school kids, you can't be wasting money.
That's so true.
Exactly. Yeah, Sphinx. Like these all the boys know. You can't like it's. I don't know. A girl broke up with me like right before, like 2 weeks before Christmas. She's like, oh, I'll still give your gift. I was like, no, it's cool. I'm returning yours. Like, I'm not, like, I'm a broke high school kid. Like, I could buy cigarettes and weed with that, right? Like, that was my mindset. So, I mean, yeah. Mine is EV for sure, getting a girlfriend before February 15th when you're in high school like Zach is. How are you? Yeah, why are you even on a gambling show, man? That's crazy. This is gonna be illegal. You gotta talk to Rob about this.
That's where Rob is, actually. They found out. He's dealing with the legal right now.
Rob's wife had to go do some last minute Christmas shopping, so he was like, screw Edgework. I'm gonna stay in bed and do things all day to myself.
The chat. Too.
Something about tortellini is involved somehow. There's a turtle in there. I don't know what he's doing, but
Rob is just punching air right now, watching this on his broken ass data. Is like just hearing.
Nah, he got his hands full.
Shit on him.
He's currently lubing up tortellini's head.
Jordan saying Rob having his own party.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah.
Y'all hitting the eggnog really.
Yeah, hitting the eggnog early. Yeah. I got eggnog saltwater taffy. That's what I'm on right now. That's Ma sent some of those out from Cape Breton, bye.
Do you guys like eggnog? I got
One time I got
it.
eggnog protein powder when I was in high school. I was like,
What a mistake! Why would
I
you
know.
do that?
I don't know, man. The guy in the store was like, here, he gave me a sample in the weight, like in the whatever it was, like Supplement King or whatever, right? And gave me the taste of it. I'm like, oh, this is not bad. I don't know. I think he gave me something else because I got home. I never had any of that eggnog protein powder. That's why my muscles are as big as they are.
That's so bad. Why would you go with the eggnog?
But speaking of that, though, speaking of protein powder, the flavorless, tasteless, like whatever, no flavor. That's the best. It's easily
No flavor protein.
Yeah, it's hard to
powder.
get. They don't have it. Like a lot of the time, you have to like ask for it, or they have to like order it in because people don't. But like, you just put it in anything, and you don't taste it. Why would you get shitty flavors when you could just get no flavor? So
That's true.
No,
Yeah.
I found a company that has s'mores flavor, and it's like dessert. It's the
Really?
best thing ever. Oh yeah, it tastes like marshmallows.
Huh.
It's actually very good. And you know how like cookies and cream is sometimes. I don't even know what are we even talking about at this point. But,
I don't
you know how like sometimes you know the cookies and cream how it's like kind of maybe a little too sweet sometimes. It's just not great.
yeah, I'm not a cookies
This
and
was-
cream guy.
Yeah, no, I can't do it. But this was like I was worried about it. I gave it a sample and I was like, it's actually pretty good. I'd actually recommend.
I can
the
see
s'mores.
that it's really
Yeah, it's paying off.
making
Yeah.
an impact.
It's making me look like a grade 12 kid, not grade 11 anymore. So
If there was one person that would love no flavor, it would be Andy. It's because I burned the joints have burned all my taste buds off anyway. So
all right. Well, I think that about does it for today's show of Edgework. If you miss
tobacco
it,
flavored protein powder. That'd be awesome.
there you go.
I work out and smoke a pack a day, Poliano.
Getting it both done.
I work out while I'm smoking a pack. How about that?
After this show, there may be no more Edgework going forward. Like this may be the last one. So if that's the case, everyone enjoy your holidays. Thank you so much for tuning in to Edgework. And if you missed it or you only joined halfway, you can find this show back on Twitter, the full show there on Edgework. You can find it also on YouTube as Edgework. You can also download the podcast version on all podcasting platforms. Probably about an hour after the show.
The
is
chat has to
finished
be
here, so-
lit like this lit all the time. Like this is a
Yeah,
good day
right.
for the
Yeah.
chat. Everybody's active, talking. You know, that's
Yeah.
why we're going 20 minutes over time here, right? So
Yeah, we need the chat's involvement. So make sure if you do want to get involved and you want to do that going forward, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You get notified every time we go live, and then you can come engage with us on the YouTube channel there. That's the only way we'll see it. We unfortunately don't see it on Twitter. But Andy, Alex, it's been a fun one today. Good
Merry
luck on your
Christmas,
bets
you filthy
tonight,
animals.
this weekend. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, and I will see you guys next week.
Cheers, y'all.